box
team
office
partner.
than Kobe Bryant?
Yes.
Than Kobe Bryant?
Yes.
Is Tim Tebow more box office than LeBron?
I think so. It's the National Football League. Go look at the numbers. Go look at the numbers he did in his games last year. It's through the roof.
Man, today we got the 7 worst contracts of the NBA this summer. We got to start with the big one, the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that's been living on the edge ever since they went all in for Damian Lillard. This summer, they stretched Dame's $112 million contract just to make room to sign Miles Turner. Dame had torn his Achilles, sure, but they didn't trade him. They didn't buy him out quietly, they stretched out his salary. That means his cap hit will be on the books for more than 5 years, even though he's not even playing for them. That's bold, that's risky, and depending on how things go, it might be a disaster. So why Miles Turner? I mean, he's 6'11", block shots, and can shoot a 3. Last season, he had 40% from deep on 2.2 attempts per game. That's not bad. He gives you more rim protection and floor spacing, which sounds like a perfect fit next to Giannis. But here's the problem. Turner's not a star. He was like the 3rd or 4th option on the Pacers. He's never averaged more than 18 points per game. And when you're paying a guy $107 million over 4 years, you better hope he becomes more than just a role player. He averages 6.9 rebounds per game last season. That's decent, but not elite for a big man. And while his block numbers are impressive, he had trouble staying healthy in the past, missing chunks of multiple seasons. I feel like what really killed the whole Dame situation was that Lillard wanted to rehab in Portland near his kids after tearing his Achilles, but the Bucks said no, and I feel like that disagreement basically blew up the whole relationship. So instead of working things out or letting things simmer down, they waived him and stretched his contract. That's over $22 million per year after hitting their books for a guy who's not even on the roster. And if Turner doesn't turn into a star, that's a double whammy. It's like trading in your sports car for a bus pass and hoping to get you to the finals. But the Bucks didn't stop there. They also gave contracts to Gary Harris and Sims. Now Harris is a decent veteran, but he averages 3 points in under 15 minutes a game last season. That's a long way from his Denver Nuggets days when he was a reliable two-way guard. And Sims, solid backup center, but not someone you throw big money at. And yet Milwaukee locked both in. All these deals added up, and the Bucks are now in a spot where their flexibility is basically gone. No cap space, no Dame, a whole lot of riding on Turner suddenly becoming a star. And if he doesn't click with Giannis, they're stuck in neutral. Now, we can zoom out a bit around the league. There were plenty of other head scratchers. One that caught my attention was the New Orleans Pelicans trading away an unprotected first-round pick just to move up 10 spots in the draft. And in the draft, that wasn't even considered that deep. The pick they gave up could end up being top 10 in a league where first rounders are gold. That's a dangerous gamble, especially for a team like the Pelicans who are still figuring out who their core looks like post Zion. And the Lakers also made some questionable choices. They had a chance to retool, add some depth, maybe find their 3rd star to help LeBron and Luka, but instead, crickets. No major moves, no big additions, just the same roster that's already struggled to stay healthy and compete. For a franchise that's used to making noise, this offseason was more of a whisper. They brought back aging role players and made no significant trades. At some point, banking on LeBron's longevity just doesn't work anymore. At least, that's my opinion. He's pushing 41. Luka needs help, and the front office seems asleep at the wheel. I do have faith in Luka and the Lakers, but I just wanted to add that in there. At the same time, we got teams handing out giant contracts to role players. Not stars, role players, not even borderline all-stars, just solid rotational guys getting paid like franchise cornerstones. One of the more baffling ones was a mid-level team giving a backup wing nearly $20 million a year over 4 seasons. This guy hasn't averaged more than 9 points a game. His best attribute, being tall and available. That's it. Let me know who you guys think that is in the comments. A lot of these bad contracts came with player options as well, which means the players can decide whether to stay for another year. That's risky, because if the player underperforms or gets hurt, they'll absolutely take that option and stick around for the guaranteed money. Teams end up stuck with players they don't want and no way to move the contract. And let's be realistic, how many teams are lining up to trade for an overpaid backup with no upside? So some of these contracts weren't just bad, they were dangerous, long-term risks that could wreck a team's future. Second apron teams lose mid-level expectations and trade flexibility, which means once you're stuck, you're stuck. And with the way some of these teams are building, they're just cruising towards that wall at full speed. Even Draymond Green spoke about it. He said free agency this year was straight up boring. No drama, no fireworks, just quiet, awkward deals. And he's not wrong. The market was dry and teams were making panic buys instead of being smart. There was no LeBron decisions, no KD shockers, just slow, confusing moves that left fans scratching their heads. And to Draymond's point, some of these deals reflect how teams are more scared to spend money than ever. Let's not forget the Nets though. The Nets, another team that didn't exactly shine this offseason. You look at their cap sheet and it's filled with role players making starter money. That's how you end up getting the belt. And here's another thing. A lot of these deals that they're making are ignoring roster balance. You've got teams with 5 guards and no centers, or teams loading up on power forwards like it's 1995. You have to wonder who's actually in charge of these front offices. Look, every offseason has its winners and losers, but this one, it might go down as one of the weirdest. I don't know why. We saw teams paying big for bench players, cutting stars without getting anything back, and mortgaging the future for tiny upgrades. The NBA is all about balance, talent, chemistry, and money. If you throw off one of those, everything could fall apart. And that's basically what we're seeing in these bad contracts. They don't just hurt your wallet, they mess up with your roster, your future, and your shot at a title. A bad contract can ruin your cap space for years. It can block young players from getting minutes, and worst of all, it can cost your superstar who's tired of losing. And once your superstar wants out, it's a domino effect. You lose leverage in trades, your fan base starts checking out, and suddenly your rebuild is 10 times harder. Teams like the Blazers and the Wizards know exactly what I'm talking about, and it only takes one overpaid bench player to tip the whole system over. Another thing people forget is how bad deals affect locker room vibes. Imagine being a young rising star grinding every game and then watching a guy who plays 10 minutes a game cash a $20 million check. That creates tension, it creates frustration, and it definitely doesn't help the team culture. You also have to consider the opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend on a bad contract is a dollar you can't use when the perfect fit becomes available. Maybe a young star becomes available in a trade. Maybe a veteran ring chaser wants to join your squad, but if your cap is clogged, all you can do is watch them go somewhere else. Lastly, these kind of mistakes stay on your record. The GMs get fired, coaches get blamed, and the fans lose trust. Free agencies isn't just about spending, it's about spending wisely. It's spending wisely. And the teams that didn't, well, they're on the list for a reason. So as season rolls around, keep an eye on these teams. Watch how Turner plays in Milwaukee. That'll be a good one. See if the Pelicans regret that draft day move. Check if the Lakers finally wake up, and maybe, just maybe, we'll look back at these contracts and say, yeah, that was a huge mistake. Or maybe someone proves us all wrong. That would be a beauty of the NBA, and that would warm my heart. I appreciate y'all for watching, man. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, man. We got videos every single week on updates. We're here, man. We're here. So just make sure to tap that subscribe. If y'all want to tap the little subscribe, y'all can comment down below who y'all think that player was. But we gonna check out today, and we gonna catch y'all in the next one, man.